Your opportunity to talk. You don't want to talk? You want to apologize to these people?
Get them on camera, scumbag.
Have anything to say?
Some name-calling at the courthouse as a man accused of bilking dozens of distressed homeowners faces 19 new criminal charges in Sonoma County tonight. Good evening, I'm Dan Ashley. Amadeus has the evening off. 7 on Your Side's Michael Finney has been investigating this case for 2 years now and was the only reporter in the courtroom today for the suspect's arraignment. Michael is here with a story you will see only on ABC 7 News. Looked intense there.
It was intense. Miguel Angel Lopez now faces a total of 64 criminal counts. Many of his alleged victims saw him today for the first time since his arrest 5 weeks ago. And as you've seen already, emotions were running high.
Wonder if we could pass this matter so we could...
Miguel Angel Lopez walks to the front of the courtroom before the judge to enter his plea. He sits back down when the prosecutor is granted a private meeting with the judge and the defense attorney. Judge Shelley Averell would later announce that 19 new criminal counts have been added to charges. He illegally accepted advance fees for mortgage modification. Mr. Lopez, Michael Finney from Channel 7. This is your opportunity to talk. You don't want to talk? Do you want to apologize to these people? Lopez, who's out on bail, wasn't much interested in talking to me, but some of his alleged victims had plenty to say to him.
Get them on camera, scumbag.
Hi, Miguel.
Later, his attorney, Stephen Turr, called the charges a witch hunt.
Because I don't think what he did was criminal. There's a bad businessman, but there's a big difference between being a bad businessman and a criminal.
We pressed him on whether Lopez broke state law.
What advantage did he take? He said he would prepare packages. He prepared the packages. He said he wasn't responsible for carrying out any further actions. He didn't. He did promise if they didn't get the modification, he promised.
Several people who say they were bilked by Lopez confronted the attorney with their personal stories. Following the hearing, those who call themselves victims of Lopez were feeling pretty good.
I wish he was with the inmates. I wish he wasn't free to walk around.
I was losing hope, but after today, I think that he's going to need to do some jail time.
Lopez is scheduled to be back in court July 8th to enter his plea. The prosecutor from the California State Department of Justice requested the bail be raised from $215,000 all the way up to $325,000. The judge said she would deny that request as long as Lopez turns over his passport.
All right, more to come. You'll stay on it.
Yes.
Obviously. Thanks, Michael, very much.
An assembly bill would require dog trainers to disclose their methods before selling their services. Supporters hope it will end the use of what they consider a cruel practice. Now, we warn you again that some of the images you're about to see are disturbing. Jason Stock found his dog Bubba in a pool of diarrhea and vomit 20 minutes after he received electronic jolts from an e-collar by a dog trainer. He says Bubba appeared motionless, almost paralyzed.
He wanted to stand. He was trying to stand, but he couldn't. He simply couldn't get himself up because his back legs weren't working.
The next morning, Bubba died. Jason turned the body over and found a 2-inch burn on Bubba's neck.
You've got a bruise, I think it's about this big, with a quarter-size sore.
Kim Medeiros is a dog trainer and says a lot of other trainers use the collars at very high levels.
Dogs are just in fear. The collars are cranked up, so to speak.
Trenton Holthouse says he regrets allowing an e-collar to be used on his dog.
And it's not like a low shock if he's doing good, a high shock if he's doing bad. It was just, you just shock them.
Trent believes that e-collar training just made his dog bitter.
I truly think that it made him pissed off at every other dog that he ever sees. He doesn't even have to have a shock collar on.
Dog trainer Jeffrey Smith says e-collars must be used with care.
You can make it unbelievably painful, but if you don't know what you're doing.
Smith uses e-collars in his training. He demonstrated on his own dog how the device works.
But as you can see, I'm utilizing the button right now and see how it's lighting up. But we're only at an 11, and this thing goes up to a 36.
His dog seemingly did not react to the shock at all. It's the same sort of demonstration Jason says was done on him. His trainer asked him to wear the collar on his wrist to experience the shock firsthand.
And it felt like a tickle. It was just very nothing almost, just enough to distract you.
Based on that experience, he allowed the trainer to use it on Bubba. It's a decision he regrets. Richard Vila of the Humane Society says he would never allow an e-collar to be used on an animal.
That's just abusive. That's abusive to a dog. You're abusing your own dog doing that. If you can't get a trainer or learn how to train an animal without causing it pain, then you shouldn't have an animal and you shouldn't be a trainer.
AB 1901 currently has no specific language addressing e-collars, but it does mandate that a trainer disclose all training methods, including the use of e-collars, leaving it up to the dog family to decide whether to allow its use.
It's kind of like taking something from a sick person.
Janet Chung of San Francisco shows us the repair an unlicensed locksmith did on her door after her home was burglarized. Her roommate called USA A1 Locksmith in a panic after he came home to find the door kicked in.
And then when they finished, they said, well, because it's a special door and, we had to do a special kind of repair, it's actually going to be an extra $2,000 more.
Yes, $2,000 more. You heard right. The total bill, in fact, was $5,000.
This kind of work just blows me away.
Lee Page is a licensed locksmith from San Rafael. He called the work done by USA A1 Locksmith absolutely minimal.
I wouldn't class him as a locksmith. I'd class him as a rip-off artist.
Lee said a more reasonable charge would have been $250. Now that story is a familiar one to Lori Penavia, who used the same locksmiths. She showed us the 9 locks she replaced after someone broke into her garage and stole all of her house keys. She felt desperate and vulnerable. USA A1 Locksmith charged her $3,300.
I believe that they know that people are in situations like that and take advantage of it.
We decided to get a first-hand look at how USA A1 operates.
Hello, is this the locksmith?
We asked an ABC7 employee to pose as someone locked out of his business. He called USA A1 Locksmith to unlock the door. But before the locksmith arrived, we asked a licensed locksmith to show us just how easy it would be to pick the lock. He picked it in less than a minute. Several minutes later, an unlicensed locksmith arrived under the watchful eye of our 3 hidden cameras. First, the locksmith tried to pick the lock. But after 5 minutes of fumbling around, our locksmith came to this interesting conclusion.
No way to pick it. I need to twin it.
Okay, well, will that run more?
It's going to be what?
Will that cost more?
Yeah.
But he refused to give a firm estimate, saying he wouldn't know until after he drilled the lock. Throughout this whole transaction, I'm watching and listening from across the street. Oh, there he goes. He's drilling now. The unlicensed locksmith drills off the old lock and replaces it with a new one. Then it came time to total the bill.
It's supposed to be $820 plus tax $70, $890. That's running a little bit more than I thought it would.
Hi, I'm Michael Finney from Channel 7 News. Can I see your locksmith license?
Yes. The business card.
They're right here.
Don't do it.
And do you have your license with you? Yeah.
No, don't take it.
No, this is important because that lock was an easy lock to pick, and you were unable to pick
Don't do it.
What kind of training do you have? What kind of license do you have? $900 to replace a lock? You weren't even here now. Come on, let's talk about this. He drives away without giving us any answer. So we asked Sam Napier of Sam's Locksmith in San Francisco. Is that a normal way to bill?
No, that's not ethical.
First off, you give the customer. We'll continue to follow that story, but as we move on, stories of dogs being abused, going missing, or even dying while in the care of a dog trainer have led to calls for reform.
Still, the industry is largely unregulated. 7 on your side's Michael Finney takes a look at why, Michael.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Listen to this. Inspired by a series of stories from 7 on your side, the California legislature passed the first ever regulations of the dog training industry last year. However, calls for the licensing of dog trainers themselves remain unanswered. We warn that some viewers may find some of the images in this upcoming story disturbing. Carolina Brucellari sent her 7-year-old German Shepherd, Scott, for board and training to a woman she found online through Thumbtack. 2 weeks later, the trainer supposedly returned Scott to her 2 children while she remained on vacation.
The kids called me and told me, Mom, this is not Scott.
This is the dog Carolina says the trainer returned on the left. This is Scott on the right. Carolina said the trainer at first denied she had returned the wrong dog, but later said she had a family emergency and left Scott in the care of a third person. The trainer said Scott ran away.
She told me maybe he's dead because that third person found blood and a broken window.
The Palo Alto Police Department confirms it is now investigating that trainer and plans to turn the case over to the district attorney. Because she has not been named as suspect, we are not identifying her. She did not return our numerous texts and emails for comment. Carolina's story is similar to that of Megan Badger, who hasn't seen her dog Winston since leaving him with a dog trainer, Antoine Deshawn Moore. He now faces felony animal cruelty charges in Placer County. Another dog trainer, Benjamin Friedenberg, is serving 6 years in prison for grand theft and consumer fraud. Lauren Myers of Watsonville left her dog Thor in Moore's care. Friedenberg never returned Thor, and even after being convicted, refuses to say what happened to the dog. Other dog trainers have been accused of abusing dogs and even killing them.
Oh, my God.
7 on Your Side obtained these photos from former employees of a dog trainer with companies in both California and Nevada. Those employees say the trainer left dogs malnourished and in filthy conditions. We showed the photos to the Las Vegas Humane Society.
The dog seemed a little bit malnourished. I'm not sure if he was needing some type of, it just seemed so depressed. You know, it seemed like it needed some type of attention as an affection.
We also showed them this video of the trainer yanking the dog by the collar.
Grabbing him by the head, pulling him on you, choking the dog, that's not necessary.
Last year, a bill signed by the governor and authored by then Assembly member Adrian Nazarian instituted the first ever regulations of dog trainers. It mandated that trainers reveal any criminal convictions or civil judgments related to their business. However, a provision that would have mandated dog trainers obtain a license was stripped from the bill under intense lobbying from the American Kennel Club. The AKC sells highly coveted registration of purebreds, which the latest tax records publicly available indicates netted the group $41 million in revenue in 2019. Judy Mancuso of the animal rights lobbying group Social Compassion and Legislation questions the motives of the AKC.
There's the people who want to protect animals, and then there's the people who are businesses, organizations who are making money off animals.
AKC said it had no room in its schedule for an on-camera interview, but by email said it also provides programs for dogs and their owners, legislative work, and continued education for breeders. It also says it donated $65 million since 1995. It accumulated net assets of $71 million in 2019, and its top executives earned $3.8 million.
This is all about organizations, businesses, people making money off animals and trying to make sure that it stays that way.
Mancuso says the American Kennel Club has made alliances with such big lobbying groups as the NRA, the Farm Bureau, and the Cattlemen's Association, adding to its political power.
That's remarkable.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Sure.